All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ella and I work in Reader Services here at the National Library of Australia. As Ruby mentioned, today I'm going to go through our enhanced eResources portal with you, and I'm going to be doing this specifically through a research lens. Just turn the camera off. All right, so my background is in art historical research. So it might be the research romantic in me, but I'm very excited to be able to channel my love of study and discovery into today's session with a few art historical references scattered in amongst it all. That being said, my hope is that this webinar will be of use to researchers of all kinds, not only scholarly independent researchers, but also those who enjoy learning about their hobbies, passions, and interests at home, and also those who want to use our eResources portal more generally. To give you an idea of today's session before I start, I plan to use an example research question as a kind of case study to navigate our eResources portal, giving you research tips along the way and demonstrating the great value of this service, which puts a wealth of digital resources at your fingertips. First, a general introduction to eResources at the library, and our new improved eResources portal, which was launched earlier this month on the 2nd of September. And here's the homepage in front of you now. We've worked hard to design this new portal, which combines previous functionality with new features that enhance discoverability and make searching easier, more flexible, and more efficient. So if you're one of those few users who indicated they had used our previous portal, you'll notice some of the same features mixed in with some new and improved ones, and I'll go through them all today. Indeed, perhaps the most exciting new feature of our portal is that you can now easily conduct full text searches of many of the eJournals, eBooks, and more in our collection here at the library. This feature is especially great in a research context, as it means you are drawing from a more varied pool of resources. And this variety can really enrich your bibliography and your learning at large. Now, as someone who learns best with visuals, I've put together this very high-tech diagram using a picture from our collection to demonstrate how I like to think of eResources at the library. You, the researcher, are the diver, quivering with anticipation, planning to dive into a large and possibly intimidating pool of resources and content. And eResources is the diving board you can use to guide you smoothly into this pool. So without further ado, let's dive in. All right. So in terms of accessing the portal, for those of you who have previously used the library's eResources, getting to this new portal is much the same. So we've gone to the library's homepage, nla.gov.au. We can scroll down and click this big eResources box here to take us through to the portal. Another great new feature, linking our physical holdings to our digital ones, is the ability to switch from searching for material in the catalogue to doing the same search in eResources. So I'll go through that now. So if you were to go into our catalogue, again through the NLA's homepage, clicking this green catalogue button here, and you were to conduct a search, and click find. If you're interested in birds, for example, you can then go to this eResources link, this new link up the top of the page, and click that to be taken to our eResources portal, and it will automatically conduct that same search. All right, so back to the library's homepage. For those of you who indicated that they didn't have a library card yet, it's very easy to sign up. Simply visit our homepage and click the Get a Library Card. If you scroll down a little bit, it's this second option on the right here. If you cannot get to the library to pick up your card, we do offer a complimentary mailing service, and we'll send your card out to you at your residential address to begin your research at home. All right. So now the moment you've all been waiting for, we'll enter the portal by clicking this big eResources box just here. Now, one of the new features of our portal is that you only need to accept the terms and conditions as you enter the site, rather than each individual database as it was previously. So this means you can move between databases without that interruption. So I'll click on this green accept button here to enter the portal, and here we are. So to log in from home, click the link at the upper center of the eResources page, this one up here in this yellow or golden banner. You'll be redirected to our catalogue to enter your details, but will then be taken back to eResources upon logging in. To log in, you just need your user ID, the long number located on the back of your library card, and your surname. When using our eResources on site, like I am today, there is no need to log in, as you'll automatically be given access to everything the portal has to offer by clicking the link. So I'm going to go ahead now and click this link in the upper center in the yellow banner to log in. And now, because I am on site here at the library using one of the library's computer, you can see in the upper right corner here, it's saying, welcome, your location is the National Library of Australia. All right, so now let's talk through some of the features of the new eResources homepage. You'll notice some new links in the top banner of the homepage over here to the left of the page. Our eResources page now links directly to our catalogue through this link and vice versa, so you can jump back and forth easily between the two. We've also included a link to our research guides here, so you can easily refer to them for research assistance. I constantly refer to our research guide, so I'd really recommend that you have a look. And we've also got a link to our previous eResources portal called the eResources Legacy Portal. And it's important to note that this legacy page will only be accessible until the 1st of November. So I really encourage you to get familiar with the new portal as it stands. All right, so now we'll move down to this larger search box in the center of our page here. If you know what specific database you are wanting to use, you can use the database's A to Z function, and this function will be something familiar for those of you who have used the old portal. I'll click into that now by clicking on that text. And here you can see they're listed alphabetically, so you can search that way. And you're also able to refine by access level within this feature. So you can see over to the left here, there are 3 categories outlined for our eResources. Those that are freely available to anyone over the internet. And the symbol is this little globe. We've also got licensed resources, which you can access from home with your library card with the set of keys. And we've also got on-site resources for which you need to be in the library building, with the little NLA building there. For the purpose of today's session, we'll be focusing on freely accessible and licensed resources, both of which you can use at home to conduct your research. Looking back up the top of this box again, we've also got a publications A to Z function. So if you have a specific journal or publication you're wanting to search in, you can do so that way. And we've also got the help tab here. I'll be coming back to this later, but just a quick look at the help tab. All right. So I'll go back to search here by clicking the search button. So as with our previous portal, from this homepage, you also have the option to conduct an advanced search by clicking this link here. I'll click on it now so you can see what it looks like. It'll be quite familiar to you. So while you can do this advanced search, I much prefer to do a basic keyword search and then use limiters to refine my results. So I'll go back here. I find that this method gives me a wealth of relevant material to work with and takes my reading to places I wouldn't have been able to identify at the very beginning, which is kind of one of the joys of research. And it's my hope that today's case study will demonstrate this. So speaking of today's case study, head back into the PowerPoint. Let's get into it so I can show you how to use the eResources portal for your research in 5 easy steps. Here's the research question I've come up with for today's session. Identify and discuss key themes in the work of the 20th century Australian modernist artist, Margaret Preston. All right. So step 1, break down your topic and identify keywords. So to begin, it's always a good idea to break down your question and identify the keywords you'll start undertaking your research with. In looking at this example question, 3 obvious starting points come to mind: themes, Margaret Preston, and Australian modernism. And this is where you can get your highlighters out and identify those keywords within that initial question. So it's from here that you can start searching these terms in the eResources portal to see what you come up with. But a bit of keyword search advice: keep updating your keywords as you go through your research. Your research question is only a starting point, as once you begin reading material, you'll find other terms that will be fruitful to search as well. Remember, you can also experiment with combinations of keywords too. I must confess, as an art historian, this isn't the first time I've looked into Margaret Preston. So to demonstrate just how the keywords you search might morph and change over time, here's a sneak peek into how my own search has changed when researching this artist using eResources. So first off, we have Margaret Preston, my first search. And this is sort of a basic beginning using one of our initial keywords identified at the very start of my research. I then searched Margaret Preston modernism, combining keywords here to get more specific results. Margaret Preston printmaking, combining keywords again, this time with a new keyword that came up during my research thus far. Margaret Preston still life, here I am combining keywords again, this time with another new keyword that came up during my research. Margaret Preston Thea Proctor. Again, I'm combining keywords here, this time using the name of one of Preston's contemporaries that I found to be referred to throughout material on Preston. And finally, Australian printmaking, a completely new keyword, so different to that initial list I had, to find information to contextualize the research I've undertaken so far and to generate new ideas. So you can see the real variety and change over time of my keyword searching. And although I said finally before I said Australian printmaking, I think these keyword searches could just continue to grow as you're studying. So hopefully this gives you some idea as to how you can get the most out of the portal in not just sticking with your original keywords. They're very useful to get you started, but can be changed or modified over time to yield more results. And this is one of the aspects I find most exciting about research, that once you start, you soon find yourself building an intricate web of content and ideas that is just so infinite and plentiful and exciting. So now we'll move on to actually searching these keywords in eResources. So step 2, use keywords to perform searches in the portal. So we'll move back to the portal now. So as I mentioned, one of the most exciting features of our new eResources portal is that you can now conduct full text searches of many of our databases. So upon searching one of your initial keywords, like Margaret Preston, you will get results from across many different databases. So I'll type in Margaret Preston now, move the mouse out of your way. And you'll see there's also an autofill option here. I'll click on this big green search button to start my search. All right. So again, this full text search capability is so great because it means you can easily have access to really varied material with just the one search. So here on the first page of search results, we already have material from a periodical. You can see over here, identified by that text, as well as material from academic journals, identified to the left of these item records. So at this stage, approximately 80% of our online content is full text searchable, hence the variety of results here. And we're working to improve this even more. It's worth noting that to make sure you can still easily access some of our popular databases, which aren't full text searchable, we've added direct links to them that will always appear on your search results page. So here you can see these links down the right-hand side of the search results page here. And no matter what search you do, these links will always remain here on the right. And there's also quick links to getting to that databases A to Z function and publications A to Z function as well. All right. So now I'll just quickly open up one of the results to show you how easy it is to access this material. Let's see. I'm going to choose this second result here, as I can see that the full text version of this article is available to me. I know this because it states full text here in the record, which is important to take note of because our portal does also return results for just citations as well as full text content. And as you can see, this text identifying material as full text comes in a variety of formats depending on what database it was found through. So you'll see this first one is available in full text and it just says PDF full text, whereas this one available through JSTOR says JSTOR full text, but they mean the same thing. All right, I'm going to open this content now by clicking on the title here, this link, which will take us through to the individual item record. I can see all of its details here, and I'll get back to navigating these individual records a bit later in today's session. But just immediately to access this content quickly, I head over to the left of the page here, where you can see this JSTOR full text and a link just here. So I'm going to click on this link. It's going to open up in a new window. So it's taken me through JSTOR, through to the JSTOR record, and I can click this download PDF button here. So I'm going to click on that now. Accept these terms and conditions here. And here we are with our academic journal article ready for the reading. I'll scroll through and show you. So this is that full text article. Okay, great. So now heading back to our search results. Okay. Let's move on to the next step. Step 3, refine your search results. So after conducting a keyword search, you can refine your results using the limiters to the left of the page. So I'll show you where they are now. You can see this refine results bar here. If you scroll down, there really are a lot of options available to you to refine those results to best assist your research. Looking for academic papers? Refine your results to academic journals under format, which will mean you have a more academic pool of resources, which is always useful to maintain the scholarly integrity of your research by using verified content. Only want to see Australian content? Refine by geography under this tab here. You can also refine by date range, subject, language, and more. And it's really worth experimenting with these limiters too, to see what different results are suggested. If you are limiting by subject, please note that not all of our content has been assigned a subject heading quite yet. So getting back to our research question today, given my research topic, I might like to see what limiting to the format of academic journals has to offer. So I'll scroll back up here on the left and check this academic journals box. My search will be updated. And then I might also add news under format so that I can see not only valuable academic journal articles, but also equally valuable newspaper articles, which enrich in your research as primary sources of information. So I'll check that box here. For more information about primary sources at the library, you might like to take a look at our recent blog post written by our librarian Lisa, titled From the Horse's Mouth, which you can find through the library's homepage. Getting back to my search results here, it might also be relevant to see what specifically Australian sources have written about Preston, given that she's an Australian artist. So I can limit to Australia under this geography tab that I showed you earlier on the left. So I'll check that box that says Australia. Okay. It's worth remembering that you can change what limiters you've applied to your search as you go. So here, having clicked geography, I can see that I've refined my results to a point where they just aren't as useful. I'm only returning 14 results, and I can tell that by looking at the search results. 1 to 10 of 14 up here. And I can see in just having a quick look through these results here, that there's really varying degrees of relevance. All right. So to get back to more useful results, I can head over to this current search box on the left of the page here. And I can just uncheck Australia, or not uncheck, but cross off Australia here by clicking this remove button. So now looking at my search results, I've got 921 results. If I scroll down, I can see that these results are looking initially a lot more relevant to those previous ones. So these would be the limiters I would decide to use, I think, for conducting this research on Margaret Preston today. And again, if you're ever confused as to what limiters you have applied and you don't want to scroll through the list, you can go to this current search box and see exactly what keyword you've searched and what limiters you've applied to this search to get these kinds of results. So another type of material I'm sure many researchers would like to know how to find, and general users as well, is eBooks. If I go back and remove my current limiters, so I'll head over here and click the little cross next to academic journals and news. I can then refine my search by going to the format feature, clicking show more, and then just selecting eBooks and clicking this big green update button. And here we go, a relevant and scholarly publication published in 2015 to help with my research. And I'll open this up now by clicking the link, the title, entering the item record. I can see cataloging details here. Heading over to the left of this item record page over here and clicking the PDF full text link. So now we have our ebook opening. And there you have it. I now have access to the entirety of this ebook. You can see over here, you can navigate this ebook via its contents, or you can just scroll through to the relevant pages. I'm not going to wait for those individual pages to load though. I'm going to head back to my results now and start thinking about the next step. Step 4, organize your content. Just click back and back. Now I'm going to uncheck eBooks here. And I thought we had good results under academic journals as a limiter and news. So I'm just going to apply those limiters again to go back to those search results that we liked. So now that I have this refined search, I can now start identifying material that is of interest to me in undertaking my Preston study. And rather than going into each record and looking at each individual piece of content as I go, I'm going to create a smaller group of saved content before knuckling down to start reading. To create this smaller curated group of resources, I can click on the little folder icon to the right of the item record. So I opened this one previously as an example. I liked the look of it. I want to add it to this little group. So I head over here and I click this little manila folder with a plus on it. And you'll see that's now changed to a full folder. I can see that this second result is full text. So I'll click on the folder over here. I want to read it as well. And I might save the third one too. All right, to see all of these saved items together in my personalized list, I can click on the folder view link up here on the right. And here it is, my very select group of resources. Now I've done this using the on-site version of eResources, which logs you in as a general library user. This means that upon leaving this library computer, at the end of today's session, these saved groups will be lost. This doesn't matter so much if you're planning to do all your research and reading in one go. But if you're anything like me, it can be fruitful to conduct research and reading over several days to let the ideas you're learning about really settle in your mind. Luckily, there is an option to create a specific profile for yourself that will remember your saved groups and keep them safe for returning to another day. So the profile that you will need to create to do this is separate to your library card login. In fact, it's a profile with EBSCO, the provider with whom we collaborated to create this enhanced portal. In creating this EBSCO profile, you'll be able to not only access your saved groups within the library across various sessions, but also remotely, so you can research at home. To create this EBSCO login, simply click on the sign in to my EBSCOhost link, which I'll show you here at the top of the page, and create your profile. I'll now sign in using my profile details and show you what it looks like. So I've just clicked on that link. It's remembering my details. And I'll click the sign in button here. And so if you haven't got that EBSCO account yet, you would go down to the bottom of this page. And this text says, don't have an account, create one now. And you click that link and enter your details. And this EBSCO account is free. So I'm just going to click the sign in button here. So we're now logged in to my profile. And this is the part where you can get a bit creative with how you organize your content. If you're just beginning your research, you could group all of your chosen material under one more generally titled folder. In this case, perhaps Margaret Preston. If you're further into your research and have started to notice common threads during your reading, you might like to break them down into those instead. Alternatively, if you are super organized and are starting your research with an essay structure already in mind, you could sort your content by paragraph number. And you can see down here that you can add custom folders, and that's when you can give them those custom names and those custom groupings. So being able to so flexibly save content is a really great feature because it means you can tailor how you organize your research in a way that best suits the way you think. And if you'd like further help with this EBSCO folder management, you can click on the small question mark bubble to learn more. I'll show you where that is. It's this button up the top of the page, and if you hover over that and click it, it'll take you to EBSCO's really thorough outline and guide as to how you can best manage your custom folders. So I'd recommend you take a look at that. All right, I'll exit out of that now. And I'll go back all the way back to my search results again. And on to step 5, navigate individual records. So now we've talked about organising content on a broader level, the collection of content. Let's take a look at how to manage individual pieces of content through each item record. So again, I do really like this article up here. I'm going to go into the item record by clicking on the title. Okay, and here we have some cataloging details and some tools and functions. And I'm going to show you some of these features now. So over to the right of this item record page, we have the tools bar. The first feature I want to show you, or the first tool I want to show you, is this permalink option. And permalinks are very important as they are the guaranteed method of finding your way back to a particular record or page on the internet. These are also the links that you should be using in your bibliography, if you're generating one, as they will provide access to your future readers. So by clicking this permalink link here, you can see that I've got this generated permalink that will always just be associated with this item record. So I can copy and paste that into my bibliography. To get out of this permalink tool, I'll just click this cross button here. Move on to another tool, the cite tool. So our eResources portal will generate a variety of citation styles for you, dependent on what you're after. So I'll click on this link on the right of the page again here. And here we go, the portal has automatically generated a variety of bibliographic entries. So we've got the APA, Chicago, Harvard, and MLA. So very useful to use this cite tool when keeping track of all your references. And I'll exit out of this cite tool now by pressing that cross button again. All right, just briefly, in this tools bar, there's also the option to save the item record details to your computer, which can also be very useful. And if in looking at this record, you decide you don't actually want it in your folder anymore because you'll remember that I saved this one to my folder previously, there is this remove from folder option here. All right. So there's just one more aspect of using the portal that I'd like to touch on before wrapping up today. And that is what you can do to access scholarly material that is not available online. For example, if I was looking for an article in an issue of Imprint Journal published by the Print Council of Australia, I might see in eResources that the result for this material is just a citation rather than full text content. In this instance, we strongly suggest you also try a search of our catalogue for this material, as there are other ways you might be able to get your hands on this content digitally without visiting the library. So I'm going to head using this catalogue link up the top here, back to the NLA catalogue page, and I'm going to search for imprint here. Typing imprint in the keyword search bar here and clicking find. All right. If I scroll down, I can see the library does indeed have imprint in its collection. It's physical issues published by the Print Council of Australia. And I can then check to see what issues of imprint are held by entering the catalogue record by clicking the link, the title. Here we have the catalogue record, and I'll scroll all the way down to the bottom of the record and look at the details next to items or issues held. Upon seeing the issue I am after is indeed in the collection, I can then, subject to any copyright restrictions, place an order for a copy of the article using the library's Copies Direct service. I do this by clicking the Order a Copy tab, which is up here. So I'll click that now. clicking Add to Cart, and following the prompts specifying the details of the article I'm after. For any questions about our Copies Direct service, please see the library's website. All right, heading back to our PowerPoint now. All right. So as we come to the end of our session today, I hope that by going through these steps with you, you've been given an idea of how our eResources portal can greatly assist with your scholarly research. I hope that by using the Margaret Preston research question as a kind of case study, I've shown you how to best navigate and utilise the portal to find, gather, and access a wide variety of content and material to shape your research and writing. And just to repeat those 5 steps that I followed, they were 1, break down your topic and identify keywords. 2, use keywords to search eResources. 3, refine your results. 4, organise your content. And 5, navigate individual records. Finally, we know that becoming familiar with our enhanced eResources portal will be a change, so we've put together a number of help guides and an introductory video to assist you with navigating this new and improved service. You can find all of these on the eResources homepage via the Help tab. And of course, if you ever need any further assistance, you can always use our Ask a Librarian service. Thank you for listening and happy researching, everyone.
Great, thank you so much, Ella. We've got quite a few questions that have been asked, so we'll cover those. And if you do have any questions for Ella before the end of the session, please send them through and we'll work through them. All right, so we've got one of the first questions that got asked by Peter, and Leanne also asked it, is it worth putting in your search results in quotation marks, for example, putting Margaret Preston in quotation marks?
I mean, you could definitely try that. My instinct is always to go as broad as possible to begin with, because you just don't know what results you might accidentally be eliminating by being too specific at the beginning. That's why rather than recommending you start with an advanced search, I recommend starting with that general keyword search. So I would start without those quotation marks. For sure.
Yes, because using the quotation marks, you're searching for those 2 words together as a phrase. And so if you wanted to narrow it down, it could be useful for a person's name, but other general keywords, like Ella says, I think it is really advisable to start general. If you're getting too many results, that's probably when it's a good idea to look at the quotation marks. Great, so Loretta asked a question. She's still unsure if all of this that you've demonstrated today can be done from home, or do we have to be at the library?
No, the wonderful thing about today's session is everything I've shown you can be done from home. So you can conduct that research from home. As I mentioned, the library has 3 categories of eResources: free, licensed, and on-site. And to be honest, the on-site resources, which you can only access in the library's building, they're not the bulk of our collection. So the bulk of our collection for eResources is those freely available resources and those ones that you can access with your library card at home. So as long as you've registered with the library and you have that library card with your user ID, you'll be able to do all of this from home.
That's it. It should be exactly the same as Ella demonstrated.
Yes.
And I suppose just touching on on-site resources, Janet noticed that Ancestry link came up on the side. So are you able to access Ancestry through the NLA?
So Ancestry is one of our on-site resources. So you do need to be in the library building due to licensing restrictions. But again, if you go to that databases A to Z feature and you filter by category, by access category, you can see what is available to you at home and what you will have to come into the library to use.
And I should point out with some of those big family history databases like Ancestry, a lot of public libraries around Australia do provide access to that. So it's worth checking with your local public library to see if they provide access to that database, as it is very popular. All right, our next question is from Jennifer, and she actually has an EBSCO account with another institution. So does she need a separate login to access a separate EBSCO login for our eResources?
No, I don't believe you do. I think you just need the one EBSCO account for each individual person, and then you can start categorizing and saving all your content from a variety of institutions.
Excellent. And extending from that EBSCO account, Joe asks, is there a time limit to hold material in your profile?
No, there's not, unless you remove the content from the lists and the folders in your EBSCO profile account. They won't ever go away, so they'll be there forever.
Great. We've got just another question. Someone would like you to list your 5 steps again.
Sure.
So this is something we might send out in the email tomorrow, and it will be in the recording, but if you could just list those 5 steps.
And I do apologize. I did actually think, as I was listing them in my conclusion just then, that I should have had a PowerPoint slide, because as scholarly researchers, I'm sure you're all taking notes. It's not very useful for you, but I will repeat them now. So step 1, break down your topic and identify your keywords. Step 2, use these keywords to search eResources. Step 3, refine your results. Step 4, organize your content. And step 5, navigate individual records.
Excellent. So we do have 2 more questions we'll get to. If you do have any more, we can stick around for a few minutes after to answer them by text. And we also have as well on the slide there a link to our Ask Librarian service, where you can send us your inquiries and we can spend up to an hour researching them. But the last 2, we've got a third one that's just slipped in, so we might be able to get to that as well. We had a question from Loretta about accessing JSTOR articles, and it sounds like in her trying to access them, she's hit a paywall. And she was wondering how this will change with her library card.
Great. So if you are accessing databases through the eResources portal, that will give you that access. So you need to log in if you're at home, like I showed you, through the eResources homepage, and then you'll be able to go to databases A to Z, look up JSTOR and access it that way, and there won't be any problems with that.
That's it. I think sometimes, depending how if you say searched Google for an article or something and went through that, that's not going to give you our library access. You do very much need to go through that process, Ella demonstrated in our eResources portal. All right. So the next question's from Tara, and in your referencing section, she says that her students use Harvard for referencing, not Harvard Australia. Is there a way to access this citation style through your site?
No, I don't think there is, but there are plenty of freely available sort of free ones like cite that will generate those references for you once you put in the details. So I'd recommend you do something.
More 2 quick questions that have just snuck in.
Sure.
That we'll cover. So Loretta said thank you for answering her question before about JSTOR. Is it the same for EBO, which I believe is Early English Books Online?
Yes, so you will need to log in for Early English Books Online as well through the eResources portal, as I outlined.
Yeah, great. And then the last question comes from Robin, and she says, am I able to research medical research journals?
Okay, so the bulk of the library's eResources collection is social sciences focused, but what you can do is, if you have a particular journal title that you want to double check whether or not we have it in our collection online, go to that publications A to Z function on the eResources homepage, and you can search it that way, because we do have some STEM content available online.
Excellent. And I think it is that process of trying different keywords and search terms and seeing what we access, because we do provide access to such a large number of databases, and within them there's so many articles that it's definitely just worth exploring. Great. Well, thank you so much, Ella.
Thank you. Thank you for listening, everyone.
And thank you everyone for those questions. We'll finish up today's session now. So as I showed, we've got an upcoming webinar you can see on our screen on ephemera. And if I go back as well, like today we're recording our session, if we have recorded quite a number of previous webinars as well, which are available on our YouTube channel. So If you have any interest in some of the other topics that we've covered in previous webinars, you can watch those. And we have more upcoming as well if you want to join our live ones. And again, if you have any further questions about our eResources or any other library questions, please use our Ask a Librarian service. But thank you so much for attending today. You will get a feedback survey when you exit out of today's webinar. We'd really appreciate if you could fill in that survey and tell us what you think. And that survey will also be emailed out tomorrow with the recording and links and Ella's key points. All right, thank you everyone, and have a good rest of the day.